Namaskar. Welcome to our second lecture on plastic analysis of steel structures. In the beginning, we will have a brief revision of what we have seen in lecture 1 so that we will be able to connect very easily with the contents of lecture 2. So we have seen in lecture 1 what is a plastic hinge, and this is a real life photograph of a plastic hinge formed in steel I section of a beam. So what is a plastic hinge? All fibers of the section have reached yield stress. So you can observe here, if at this point this connection is fixed, so that we are imagining there is hogging bending moment, all the upper fibers have reached tensile yield stress, all the lower fibers have reached compressive yield state, and because of that the plastic hinge is formed over the entire section. Plastic neutral axis, we have seen, divides the cross-sectional area of the member into two equal halves. Mind you, this is a side view, this is not cross-section. So try to imagine the cross-section of the beam, which will be in the shape of an I section. So exactly half the area will be in compression, half the area will be in tension. Plastic moment of resistance, which is represented by couple moment formed by net tensile force and net compressive force. So it is given as a sigma y, that is yield stress, multiplied by Zp, that is plastic section modulus. Section behaves like a rustic hinge, leading to plastic bending of the beam while offering constant resistance MP. So I have just shown a rustic hinge here, the way it opens while offering some resistance. So in the similar fashion, this particular section behaves at the plastic hinge, and it has a constant moment of resistance, that is MP, and that is the ultimate moment of resistance the section can ever offer. Another term or quantity we saw in the last lecture, that is shape factor, which is ratio of plastic moment of resistance to elastic moment of resistance, and which can be proved to be equal to plastic section modulus upon elastic section modulus, and which is just a geometric term, and it represents the extent to which beyond elastic limit a section can absorb bending moment. Now we are going ahead with the collapse of a member because of formation of the plastic hinge. So just imagine that this is a beam, which is obviously a determinate beam, simply supported beam, and in fact presently we are studying collapse of a determinate member only, which is subjected to uniformly distributed load of intensity W over the entire span. Since it's a simply supported beam, degree of static indeterminacy is 0. That is, this is a complete determinate beam. Now what we are doing, we are imagining that this loading goes on increasing, or the intensity goes on increasing, so that you are observing that at a section where bending moment is maximum, the extreme fibers have undergone yielding, and gradually the yield is spreading inside also. It is getting further and further enhanced through the depths into the section. So load is being continuously increased and more fibers are undergoing yielding. A stage is reached when the load is called as ultimate load WU, and you see that all the fibers have undergone yielding. So we are writing load is continuously increased, reaches ultimate load, a plastic hinge is formed at the section of maximum bending moment, and this is a state of limiting equilibrium between loads and stress resultant. So if you increase this load even by a slightest amount, then the member will undergo indeterminate deformation, and we call it as collapse of the member, and which is what the next slide is about. I have written here WU plus. We have further increased the load, and at the plastic hinge, the section which behaves like a rustic hinge, there is a continuous deformation, and you are observing that it's a roller support here, it's a hinge support here. So at both ends there is a possibility of rotation. So just one more plastic hinge or one plastic hinge at the section is immediately leading to the collapse of the member. That is what we are writing here. A small increase in the load leads to indeterminate deformation. It was a simply supported beam with degree of static indeterminacy at 0. Only one plastic hinge was formed and we saw that there was a failure. So we are writing one plastic hinge is necessary for complete collapse of beam. So from this number 0 and from this number 1, we are making a temporary statement or guess. Number of plastic hinges required for complete collapse, that is N, is equal to degree of static indeterminacy plus 1. No doubt, presently this expression is applicable to the given example or specific example. Let us go ahead and see if it could be generalized. Now we are looking at complete collapse of an indeterminate member, and in figure you are observing that this is a propped cantilever, this is fixed end and this is simply supported end, and the cantilever is subjected to a load of P at the mid span, and this is the typical bending moment diagram of the propped cantilever where we have 3 PL by 16 bending moment and 5 PL by 32 bending moment. Let us note a couple of important points. Propped cantilever means degree of static indeterminacy is 1 because we have 3 reactions here, 1 reaction here, and we have 3 equilibrium equations. So 4 minus 3, that is giving me 1 degree of indeterminacy. Further from the values, you may note that bending moment at A is greater than bending moment at C. We are increasing our P. As P reaches a very high value P plus, I am not yet calling it P ultimate, but I am just calling it P plus, more than the earlier P. Bending moment at A, which was greater than bending moment at C, has become equal to plastic moment of resistance MP. So you are observing that this bending moment has reached the value of MP. MP of course depends upon sigma y and ZP because MP itself is sigma y into ZP. Sigma y is the material property, ZP is the section property. So sigma y into ZP has given me this value of MP. As I keep on increasing this load, bending moments goes on increasing, and then at a point we have reached MP and you are observing first plastic hinge is formed here, and that is what we are writing here. First plastic hinge is formed at A. The beam has not yet collapsed because instead of this fixed support, now that we have a plastic hinge form here, it is behaving like a hinge support with couple moment, that is MP. But we have a hinge here, we have another roller support here, so the beam has not yet failed, mind you, and that is what we are writing here. The beam has not yet collapsed and behaves like an SS beam, that is simply supported beam, with a load of P plus and a moment of MP. Now see what is happening. As section A has yielded fully, it cannot take any more stress. This is most important. So if you go on increasing the load further and further, this has already taken a total bending moment of MP. All the fibers have undergone yielding here. It is offering no more stress. So what is happening? The other sections start absorbing more and more bending moment. Since this section has formed plastic hinge, so other sections start taking the bending moment. That is what we are writing here. Other sections start absorbing moment, thereby changing shape of the bending moment diagram. This is called as redistribution of moments. So earlier whatever nature of BMD we had, or whatever look or shape of BMD we had, now that shape will keep on changing because this section has already yielded fully. Other sections will start absorbing more and more moment. So the shape of bending moment will start changing, and that is called redistribution of moments. Eventually, the load has become so large that even at C section, the bending moment becomes equal to plastic bending moment, that is MP, and yet another plastic hinge is formed at C. So now see what has happened. One plastic hinge is already formed here. This bending moment is ultimate moment of resistance, that is plastic moment of resistance. Now your load has become so large that another plastic hinge is formed at a point where the bending moment was very high, and now we have one plastic hinge here, one more plastic hinge here, and a roller support here where we already have facility of rotation. The beam is now on the verge of collapse. This load is now called as ultimate load PU. Can you guess what will happen next? What will happen if I increase this load PU even by a very slight amount? You can imagine that there will be rotation here, there will be rotation here, there will be rotation here, and so the beam will collapse, which is precisely what is being shown in the next diagram. See the collapse of our earlier propped cantilever. An infinitesimal increase in load will cause the collapse, and that collapse is again shown here. What do we conclude from this example? It was a propped cantilever with degree of static indeterminacy 1, and two plastic hinges were necessary for complete collapse of that propped cantilever. So again I am observing that number of plastic hinges required for complete collapse, that is N, is equal to degree of static indeterminacy plus 1. So using two examples, one of determinate structure and one of indeterminate structure, I have fairly understood the collapse mechanism at ultimate load, and I can definitely say that for complete collapse of a structure, the number of plastic hinges necessary is degree of static indeterminacy plus 1. Some very important discussion: conditions for full collapse. Three conditions are to be satisfied to ensure full collapse of a structure and identification of the true collapse load. So what are those conditions? Number one, mechanism condition. Number of plastic hinges N should be greater than or equal to at least degree of static indeterminacy plus 1. The second condition is equilibrium condition, that is bending moment in equilibrium with applied moments. So that is what we have been saying, that the moment of resistance or bending moment at the plastic section or the stress resultant is in equilibrium with the applied moments. And the third condition is yield condition. Magnitude of bending moment cannot exceed the plastic moment of resistance, which is the ultimate capacity of the section and which depends upon the material and it depends upon the section. So remember these three conditions: mechanism condition, equilibrium condition, yield condition. We have seen complete collapse of a determinate beam and an indeterminate beam. There is also possible a partial collapse and which is also not desired at all. So students should do well to remember the difference in complete collapse and partial collapse, and also students should remember that even partial collapse is not desired. We cannot have collapse in any part of the structure, and of course we are not waiting for complete collapse of the structure. Partial collapse of a continuous beam. One example we are taking. Let's observe this continuous beam in diagram. This support is a hinge support and there are a couple of more supports, to be precise 3 more supports which are roller support, and this last part is an overhanging portion. It is subjected to a few point loads and a UDL, and then we are writing for this continuous beam degree of static indeterminacy is 2, which is obvious. There are going to be 2 reactions here, one more here, one more here, one more here, so 5 unknown reactions and 3 equilibrium equations. 5 minus 3 means 2, degree of static indeterminacy is 2. So as per the theorem established earlier, number of plastic hinges required for complete collapse is DSI plus 1, which is 2 plus 1 means 3. However, 1 or 2 or 3 number of plastic hinges is sufficient for partial collapse. So this is very important, and please look at the diagram. You are observing that in span AB, if a hinge is formed, plastic hinge is formed below the point load and one more hinge is formed near this roller support, then immediately this span will undergo a collapse. So we don't really need formation of 3 plastic hinges here, because though other portion of the beam is intact, partially the beam is collapsed in span AB. Similarly, if we have 3 plastic hinges formed in span BC, this portion will undergo collapse. 3 plastic hinges formed in span CD, then this portion will undergo collapse. And finally, very interestingly, suppose a plastic hinge is formed near this roller support D in span DE, then you are observing that this portion, this span will fail. So here hardly one plastic hinge is necessary for the partial collapse of the beam. So we are concluding the condition of DSI plus 1, number of plastic hinges formed for complete collapse, DSI plus 1 is not necessary for a partial collapse. Most important statement. Next on the agenda is complete collapse of a rigid jointed frame. Now when I say complete collapse, it involves, the discussion involves partial collapse as well as complete collapse. So please observe this typical frame which has a fixed support at A, fixed support at D, and then there is some loading here, because of which have been generated these 6 unknown reactions. These reactions I am deliberately showing to calculate degree of static indeterminacy. It is 6 unknown reactions minus 3 equilibrium equations, that is equal to 3. So as per the established theorem, number of plastic hinges needed for complete collapse N is equal to 3 plus 1, that is equal to 4. So in the discussion that is going to be presented, you will find that whenever 4 plastic hinges have been formed, the frame is collapsing fully, and probably when 3 or 2 or 1 like that plastic hinges are formed, the frame doesn't collapse fully but very certainly partially, and even that is not desired. That is what we are writing here again. However, a fewer number of plastic hinges may lead to a partial failure. Various mechanisms, this is most interesting part of frame discussion and that we do not come across in beam discussion. Various mechanisms, namely beam mechanism, sway mechanism, joint mechanism, and combinations thereof need be considered before finding collapse load. So let's see these mechanisms one by one, and first one we are considering beam mechanism. Please observe the diagram. Here, because of loading, three plastic hinges have been formed in the beam BC. And because of formation of these three plastic hinges, you are observing that this beam is collapsing even if the columns are standing rigidly or safely. Now a question may come that why are we showing these plastic hinges in beam, not in column? Suppose somewhere here near the rigid connection at B point or at C point. So the idea behind this is whenever we design steel structure or RCC structure, we usually design it keeping in mind strong column, weak beam philosophy. That is, columns are always designed relatively stronger compared to a beam, because when a beam fails, probably only that beam fails, but when a column fails, a more damage is likely to occur. Not only more damage, entire structure may fail if the column is so positioned. So whenever plastic hinges are shown for the sake of analysis, usually they are shown in beam portion, not in column portion, assuming that column is stronger than beam. So here we are observing three plastic hinges in beam BC and there is a partial collapse in the beam BC. Next example is showing again beam mechanism where because of lateral load a plastic hinge is formed in the column, another plastic hinge is formed in the column, and third plastic hinge again deliberately not shown to be formed in column but shown to be formed in the beam. Because of these three plastic hinges, the column is likely to collapse. So this is partial failure again, partial collapse again. Though it is taking place in column, we don't quite call it column mechanism, we call it beam mechanism because it is a similar kind of collapse as we discussed earlier. Second type of mechanism is sway mechanism. This students will do well to observe what is happening. See, we are observing that one hinge, plastic hinge is formed in the column, one plastic hinge is formed in the beam here, another plastic hinge is formed in the beam here, and one plastic hinge is formed in the column here. Because of these four plastic hinges and because of lateral load, the frame has swayed. It has undergone a swaying movement. There is a lateral movement in the frame, and obviously this lateral movement will eventually lead to a complete collapse of the frame. So we are observing that this is not a partial collapse but full collapse, and four plastic hinges, two in the column and two in the beams very close to the beam column joint, are responsible for formation of sway mechanism and for the full collapse of the frame. So that is what we are writing. Two plastic hinges in beam BC and one each in columns AB and CD, leading to complete collapse in the frame. So we have seen beam mechanism where three plastic hinges in a member are causing it to collapse, and now we are seeing sway mechanism where four plastic hinges are causing it to sway, leading to a complete collapse. One more analysis we have to perform to find out the ultimate load or collapse load, that is a combination of mechanisms. It is possible that the collapse may take place because of combination of two mechanisms that we saw. One was beam mechanism and one was sway mechanism. So see what is happening here. One plastic hinge is formed in column AB, one plastic hinge is formed in column CD, and two plastic hinges have been formed at the center of beam BC and near the joint C. So if you look at this shape, this reminds us of beam mechanism, which was a partial collapse. And if you look at the overall shape, it reminds us of sway mechanism of full collapse. So this is a combination of the two mechanisms, beam mechanism as well as sway mechanism, formation of four plastic hinges leading to complete collapse of the entire frame. So after studying the different types of mechanisms for collapse, whether partial or complete collapse, now we are coming to the objectives of plastic analysis. So we saw what is a shape factor, what is a plastic hinge. We have seen what is elastic behavior, what is elastoplastic behavior. We have seen what are the different mechanisms of partial collapse or complete collapse. We have also established that for complete collapse, the number of plastic hinges required is degree of static indeterminacy plus 1. And now finally we are arriving at the objectives of plastic analysis. So what are such? Analysis of beams and frames involve determining collapse load, number of hinges required to induce the collapse, possible hinge positions, independent collapse mechanisms and associated MP values, that is plastic moment of resistance values. Independent mechanisms means whether beam mechanism or sway mechanism. Possible combinations, as we just now saw in the last slide, that there are some combinations of collapse possible, and then to find the highest plastic moment of resistance. So with this we are concluding this second lecture on plastic analysis, which also, like lecture 1, contained a lot of theoretical discussion. And now in further lectures we will be seeing numerical examples based upon shape factor calculation, plastic hinge formation, mechanisms, finding collapse load, etc., so that on solving these numerical examples you will have a thorough grasp of this plastic analysis concept. Thank you very much.